Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carl Fudge. I'm a first-year MBA at MIT Sloan, and I'm excited to introduce our next presentation from Under Armour. Under Armour have made history by releasing their first ever commercial digital product called Armour39, and we have the digital team who created it here to tell us more about it. We'll be going for about 45 minutes, and if you'd like to ask a question, please do so by tweeting to the hashtag SSAC13 and the hashtag 205 as well. Over to you, Christy.
Thanks, Carl. Welcome, everybody. Glad that you could join us here today. My name is Christy Hedgepeth, and I am the General Manager of Under Armour's Digital Products Division. Most of you, I'm sure, have heard that maybe before today that we did just launch our first digital product, as Carl said, called Armour39. And what I want to do today is talk about the product. We've had a booth set up, and many of you have been asking us a ton of questions about the product, which is great. So I'm going to talk about it in more detail, but I think as importantly, I do want to talk about what were the factors and the decisions that led to the product development and the different decisions that we made, because a product doesn't just happen. You don't just wake up and launch it one day. You have to think about a lot of key questions, and I'm going to review those with you. Before we get started, I wanted to introduce two of my colleagues that are here today, Tori Hanna and Sarah Hester. Come on up, you guys. So Sarah Hester is here. She heads up our business strategy and our marketing strategy. She comes to us, she's a double UVA grad, and she's been with us for about 8 or 9 months and has done a terrific job. We have Tori Hanna, who is heading up our product engagement. She has been with the brand for 12 years. And in that span, the company is only 17 years old. The company has grown tenfold. So she's seen everything in Under Armour, and we coaxed her over from the sports marketing team, and as I said, she's heading up product engagement for us. So at the very end, we're going to take questions, and we'll all come back. So thanks, you guys. All right, get into it. So as I said, when you develop a product, it's not just about what's the greatest technology or what's the latest stuff, and it's really about a lot of key questions that you have to ask yourself. This category is exploding, as you guys all know, and you can go in a million different directions. And what we wanted to do was make sure that we asked ourselves very, very critical questions and that we answered those and that those informed the product that we made. So first and foremost is, what does the Under Armour brand stand for? Because how we might develop a digital product, it'd be very different maybe than some other brands. So we're going to talk about the Under Armour brand today, kind of give you guys a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, and just talk about those key pillars of our brand that actually influence product development. Secondly, what are the opportunities to help our athletes get better? Our mission is to make athletes better, and we take it very seriously. We have from the very beginning. We've done it with apparel, we've done it with footwear, and now we're doing it with digital. So we really, really spent a lot of time, invested a lot of resources to understand what are those opportunities, and we'll share some of those with you as well. Third, of course, let's understand the market dynamics. What are our competitors doing? What are the emerging technologies? And what are some of the trends in the marketplace? So we had to consider those as well. And again, how they inform, as I said, Armour39 and the development. So to answer the first question, what does Under Armour stand for? I want to show you, I think we have our video queued up here.
Our job is to make you better, to make all athletes better. One great innovation at a time. The next great athletic innovation isn't available just yet, but it's being built at Under Armour right now. I will.
seen that before today? Have you guys seen the campaign? Okay, so it's been out for several weeks. It's our new brand campaign called I Will, and it's really a focus on innovation. So as we get to thinking about our brand pillars, we've just chosen a few of our brand pillars. We stand for a lot of things. A lot of things hold up that really, I think, powerful Under Armour brand. And one of them is really cutting edge technology. I mean, that's what put us on the map. The ability to keep athletes cooler and drier and lighter at a time when no one else was really doing that. That's the foundation of the company, and it's a pillar. And so as we think about, well, where are we going to go with digital products, that's a critical element. And so this technology and really being innovative was a mandate for us. The other brand pillar that we wanted to talk about was authenticity. And you know, a lot of brands can talk about things, and for us, you know, it's not always about the glitz and the hype. We've been kind of a gritty brand. We've been about the real athlete and representing athletes at every level. And so that authenticity and how a product can really help that athlete get better and understand the athlete is critical. So the authenticity, here you have Michael Phelps, who's one of our athletes, and really talking about the real deal. So those are some key pillars that have really influenced Armour39, and we'll talk more about how. Also, in terms of our brand, we really pride ourselves on getting as close to athletes as possible. And it's not just the elite athletes that you've heard about or some of the ones that you see on the screen. But in developing Armour39, we literally had thousands of hours of testing with athletes, like all of us in this room. With Combine specifically, you may have seen, this is the third year in a row that we had our digital technology, at the time, 2 years ago, called E39, which you know, was really, I think, revolutionary. And athletes like Cam Newton and Julio Jones wore that big blinking, you know, yellow bug, which is the heritage over to Armour39. So the access that we have to those athletes and to everyday athletes absolutely has informed the development of Armour39. And you know, our athletes are just so helpful and forthcoming and helping us understand what their needs are. And on that note, one of my prior roles at Under Armour was heading up our Consumer Insights division. And with so many competitors in the space, if you just throw out a technology and you don't make sure that the consumer values it, it's just going to get lost in a sea of products. So it truly has to deliver on consumer needs. And some of the opportunities that we saw, we just wanted to kind of share with you. And the first one is that a lot of monitors out there, because the Armour39 is a performance monitor. There are a lot of heart rate monitors out there, but they're not great for the type of athlete that typically is drawn to Under Armour. That football player, that basketball player, that person lifting weights, that softball player. So we know our consumer, and we wanted to bring a monitor to them, performance monitor, that would capture the types of movements, the types of workouts that they do. So we have a little graphical illustration here. If you're a triathlete or if you're a runner, you've almost certainly used a heart rate monitor. And they're really, really good at capturing that endurance type of activity. So you have a pretty steady heart rate throughout your workout. But if you're a more traditional team sport athlete, you're sprinting, you're stopping, you're starting, you're lunging, you have a timeout, then you go 100%, then you're back down to 50%, back down to 90%. So it's that interval training. And the graphs that you see represent that. Endurance training versus interval training. And so what we set out to do was, how do we make a monitor that's relevant to those athletes that do interval training? And we'll talk about how, again, Armour39 addresses that. But that was a real consumer need and one that we wanted to solve. The other consumer opportunity, we have a few, is that any of you who have played a competitive sport, whether it's junior high, high school, college, or if we have any that have played beyond that, you know that you can't go 100% every workout. Your body's going to break down. You're going to have recovery days, hard days, and moderate days. And sometimes for trainers and athletes, it's hard to dial that in. So how do I avoid overtraining or undertraining? So that we felt was a real opportunity in the market and something that we wanted to address. Next, there were a lot of when we talk to consumers, we heard a lot of people saying, "Guy, you know, like I bought this or I bought that. It was too hard to set up. Or it was just too much to carry for my workout. Or I had to plug it in." And we just kept hearing problems around adoption. If you're selling consumer products, you want to make them easy to use and you want to increase adoption. So we saw some opportunities, and when I take you through the product, you'll see how we've addressed some of those hard to use problems that consumers talked about. And then lastly, this is just really interesting because depending on your personality, depending on your sport, depending on your objectives or your level, you might want the highest level information, data coming back to you, or you might want to drill down deeper. So what we wanted to do with Armour39 is provide high-level data, very simple screens, only 2 or 3 key workout screens, and then allow that consumer who wants to know more, that coach or that trainer, to drill down. And that was something that we didn't see a lot of people getting right. They would either kind of provide too much or not enough, and consumers were complaining. So those are some key issues on the consumer front. And then that last kind of question that we wanted to make sure that we answered is around market dynamics. So, you know, I mentioned earlier at the beginning, this category is one of the fastest growing categories out there. You know, sports balls, probably not growing real fast. You know, sports socks, probably not growing real fast. But digital, you know, sports and fitness products are growing at over 20%. In this category, that's a big deal. So we really wanted to make sure that we thought out our plan, how are we going to enter this category and take advantage of this really exploding opportunity. When one of the things people say, well, gosh, you know, it's 2013. So many other competitors, they have products in the market, are you late? And, you know, we said, look, we're a younger brand. And as I said, you know, we've been working on this product for 4 years. It's been in the combine. We've invested a ton in consumer research. We wanted to get it right. And one of the benefits of that, there have been several benefits. Timing is everything. One is that a lot of other companies have invested a lot of money in educating consumers about the need for biometric feedback, about the need to measure your performance, about the need for objective information that these types of products can provide. And so there's more of a readiness and a willingness in the market, and we can benefit from that. The other thing in terms of timing is that we've been able to take advantage of emerging technologies like Bluetooth Low Energy. You know, it wasn't around a few years ago. And that really was a critical part, is a critical part of Armour39, as we'll talk about. And then lastly, not surprisingly, the proliferation of smartphones. And the general population adoption is about 50% smartphones. You guys have any idea what the adoption rate of smartphones is today for pretty serious, involved athletes? Any ideas? 50% general population. Any ideas? 80. It's 80%. That's a big damn deal. And it really influenced, I think, how our product was developed, and really taking advantage of that, those digital trends, and consumers just really always being attached to their phone. So this is the Armour39 system. And it is a system. And I'll take you through more of the specifics. But what I wanted to do was start with a video specific to Armour39, which you may or may not have seen.
You've never trained this way. Nobody has. Introducing Armour39, the first of its kind performance monitoring system, made to help athletes get the most out of themselves and know it for a fact. Armour39 measures everything: heart rate, calories burned, real-time intensity, which leaves the last measurement, the intangible that no athlete or trainer has ever had the ability to explore: willpower. Armour39 tells you how hard you worked. No more guessing or pretending. Now you won't just see yourself getting better. You'll be keeping score.
So that was a really fun spot to shoot. GSP and Natalie Uling, I'm sure you know George St. Pierre, MMA fighter from Canada, and Natalie Uling, who is an incredible trainer based in New York. So we worked with those athletes. The system, I guess I'll get into a little more detail. This is kind of the overall statement for what the product is. It's as I mentioned earlier, a performance monitor. It's not a heart rate monitor, it's a performance monitor because it does much more than monitor your heart rate. And when we think about willpower, it's our signature measure. It is really, I think, originally the vision of our CEO. So visionary. Kevin Plank played football at Maryland, and he said, you know what? I just want one number. I want to know, no matter what workout I do, no matter what sport I play, I want one number at the end of it to tell me how hard I worked. And that's exactly what willpower is. And obviously there's a connection to our I Will campaign and tapping into the heart and the mind of the athlete as well. So that idea of willpower is really, really motivating to our athletes. So that's our signature measure. It's basically an algorithm. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. But the system also at the highest level measures heart rate, measures calories, real-time intensity, and willpower. So how does it work? We've had a lot of people stopping by the booth. And really, at the root of it is the chest strap and the module. It all starts with that. An athlete puts that on. And what's interesting is we also knew from consumers that other monitors, they have these kind of nylon straps and they slip down or they give them abrasions. They're not comfortable. And we just feel like Under Armour, as a brand, we're known for our fabrics. We understand that. So we integrated that technology, materials technology, into the strap to really define what this type of body or chest strap really is. So it started with that. And then we have a module which sits inside and really plugs into the strap. And it's this idea of, a lot of us are former athletes, and when it's game day or when it's time to go, it's this idea of taking they call it the bug for short, just informally. When you're ready to go and you're ready for a workout, you've got to turn on, plug in the bug, and you're activated. You're now accountable for your workout. You're powered on. And literally, the bug actually lights up to let you know that it's on. So there's kind of a tapping into the psyche of the athlete as well to say, you know what, you're on. You're now accountable. This is an objective measure of your performance, and you're turned on. So it starts with that experience of putting on the strap, really comfortable, popping in that bug. The bug is really the brain, it's the computer of the system, and it's collecting information as you work out. What's it collecting? It's collecting biometric data. It's collecting body position data. So are you in a plank? Are you running? What are you doing? And it's basically combining all that using pattern recognition, and then it's transmitting that data. So using Bluetooth Low Energy, as we talked about earlier, to one of two display devices, and it's up to the consumer. One of the consumer opportunities I talked about is making things easier for them, giving consumers choices, and making technology easy to integrate, making it easy and seamless in terms of integrating into their workout. So you can either go to a Bluetooth Smart Ready phone, we're starting out with iOS platform, or to the Armour39 watch, which the Armour39 watch is one of the first in the market to have an updatable app. So as we add features and benefits, that app can be updated. So you're working out. You want real-time information? You can use your phone, or you can use the watch, or if you don't want to use either one, you can leave them both at home. And that's a key differentiator for Armour39. You're not tethered to any display device. You can connect to one of the two, and you can go off for your run or go out for your workout, and it's the only device in the world that is storing and syncing that heart rate information automatically when you get back. So we're really proud of that, and it speaks to the consumer and the consumer need to adopt technologies because they're easy to use and they fit into their lives. So that's how the system works. And everybody, we talked about what does it measure? Well, first and foremost, heart rate. It's obviously a critical training tool. We measure beat-to-beat heart rate. Earlier, we were talking about traditional heart rate monitors. They typically take an average of your heart rate. So if you're running steady and your heart rate's like this, an average over 10 to 20 seconds is pretty accurate. But if you're doing interval training and your heart rate's spiking and it's coming down, you're recovering, it's going back up, if you take an average, you're going to be off. And it was really important to us that we gave our athletes precision about what they're doing, so we really are capturing every single beat and not just an average. We're displaying that color-coded depending on what heart rate zone you're in, so you can maybe see it from across the gym. It's really big. The second measure is calories. We're using a generally very well-regarded caloric burn equation, and then using the benefits of our system to make that as precise as possible. So consumers really appreciate having that sort of calorie calculation. The third measure is real-time intensity. What's that? It's really a measure of how hard is my body working right now in this second. And it's a function of my current heart rate relative to my max heart rate. And then lastly, as I talked about, our signature measure is really willpower. This thing can get, it really gets addictive. I know when our team works out, at times we'll sometimes forget our system. And it's really tough because you get used to getting this data, you get used to getting this feedback. When you don't have it, you really miss it. And willpower is a big part of that. It's a scale of 0.0 to 10.0. And again, it allows you, if you did 6 different workouts in 1 week, you could compare basically all of these measures, compare willpower across all of those different sports or activities. And it factors in a lot of things. It's a pretty complex algorithm. Obviously, it's proprietary, but it factors in things like workout duration, key heart rate measures, my user profile information, body position data. So it's pretty robust. And as I said, we've literally tested it for thousands and thousands of hours. So those are the key measures. Willpower. A lot of people, they enjoy talking about willpower. And one of the key things that I mentioned earlier about consumers, trainers were telling us, wait a sec, I don't know if I'm overtraining or undertraining my athlete. Well, this is exactly the tool that we developed for them to be able to do that. They can literally set their willpower target. And in this graphic, you can see, depending on the day, they're targeting different willpower levels. So is it a light day? Is it an intense day? Is it more moderate? And what am I doing? It could be a mix of weights and cardio, just cardio, or weights. So it really factors all of that in and really allows that trainer to dial in. If you just had a game day and your trainer knows that you need to recover, you're going to dial that down to maybe a 4 or 5. So again, giving consumers that, and trainers, that tool to dial in how hard they worked out and really manage those workouts. So how's it better? Everybody always asks us this question, of course. And I've touched on a lot of those things. Talked about the beat-to-beat heart rate information. Again, the precision. We're an authentic brand, and athletes rely on us. They count on us. So we really wanted to give them, as I said before, the most precision possible. And the best way to do that is to capture every single heartbeat. And so we're doing that. So every single second, if you're at the top of your interval training, it's going to be dead on to what's my heart rate right now, what is my intensity. We talked about the syncing with the app automatically. People love that feature. They're not tethered to the phone or tethered to a watch. They can go and do something and come back, and it'll automatically sync. That's a huge benefit to adoption, making it easy to use. We talked about working across all kinds of sports. For our brand, look, we were born on the fields of play. We're born among football players, basketball players, softball players, etc. So this device is for them, and it's a performance monitor. The other thing that we heard from consumers is, I hate having to charge it, or I hate having to plug it in. And this works with a standard coin cell battery, CR2032. And the battery life is 9+ months if you used it about an hour a day. So it's super convenient, no charging involved, and athletes really appreciate that as well. So one aspect that I haven't touched on yet is that it's customized to you. It's not one size fits all. So if you have someone of the same gender, the same age, the same height, the same weight, their heart is totally different than yours. Key heart rate measures, their max heart rate, ventilatory threshold, and recovery rate, they're all different. So one of the things that we have integrated into the system is what we call an assessment. And we recommend doing it once a month, and it allows the system to see inside you. What is your capacity as an athlete? Again, what is your VT? What is your recovery rate? What is your max heart rate? So the way that we do that is we ask athletes to do it at the beginning to set a baseline. The system fine-tunes to them, and then as they get in better shape over time, you can measure it once a month. So that's our recommendation. How does it work? It's a little bit like a stress test. It's not that fun, but it's super important. If you take your workout seriously, if you take getting better seriously, you're going to do the assessment. And basically, it's a progression, starting from a walk, building all the way up to basically on a treadmill or a track, all the way up to a sprint. And as I said, it's not fun. It is not fun at all, because the only way to know your max heart rate is to get there. So it's tough. It's really tough. And then you just rest for a minute, and that's going to measure your recovery. So that's the assessment. You don't have to do it, but again, if you want to dial it in, if you want to get the most out of the product, you'll do the assessment. So actually, that's all we have in terms of the product. I've hit some of the high points, and I know I'm sure there are a ton of questions out there. So I'll ask Tori and Sarah to come on back up. Does Carl have any questions?
So we've got some questions
Okay.
from the audience that we've been collecting, and if more come in, Carl will be feeding them to us. One of the first ones that came in was from the start when you were going over the measures, Christy. It was, how does Armour39 measure the difference in intensity from one person to another? And you touched on this, but if you want to reiterate and respond to that question.
How to measure the intensity from one to the other?
The difference in intensity. How does it know your intensity versus mine?
Sure. I mean, you know, and we touched on it with the assessment, but there's certain things about you. So as again, whether it's your gender, your age, your height, your weight, you're going to input all of those into the system. So right there, it knows you from someone else. And then really taking that assessment allows the system to say, okay, what is your max heart rate? That's really important. And it basically, you can't change it. It just is what it is. And then your ventilatory threshold, that's the point that the system is assessing for you. Just below that level is where you can go for 20, 30, 40 minutes. Just above it, you're going to have to stop. So that's a VT, and it's a sign of your fitness level. That's going to change over time. And same with recovery rate. So how quickly do you recover? That's really indicative of how in shape you are. So as you get in better shape, your recovery rate is going to go up. So again, and I kind of touched on that towards the end, but if there's anything you'd like to add. Okay.
So we have another one. Does having an upper limit on willpower restrict gamification that competitors have proven successful to consumers?
Does it restrict gamification?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So great question. So I think the question is, okay, you've got this range of 0.0 to 10.0. And is that restrictive in terms of gamification? I think that what's most important is that we've tried to understand the full range of athletes, of our athletes. And we've put, as I said, thousands of hours of testing into it. So something low on the willpower score is going to be, the scale is going to be maybe a very basic kind of cardio workout, all the way up to literally a marathon. So, you know, I don't know about, you know, how you'd really gamify it, but it certainly does tap into the competitive mindset of our consumer. And we've already seen, even with our own executives, that they love to compare scores, although technically the system is best for you as a user, comparing you from month 0 to 1 to 2 and comparing over time. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think we're looking at where gamification is going, and we're considering that and saying, well, what is this product? And we've started with the core and understanding we want to serve that athlete and making them and giving them the tools they need to improve as an individual, and that's kind of informed our product creation stage, staying true to our athlete and what they need. An interesting question that came in was, with Armour39, is Under Armour taking a position on how athletes should train?
I think you could say that we are. And, you know, when you're in this space, you have to put a stake in the ground. And we've done that. We've done that in several different ways. We've done that by saying we're going to start with a technology that is based on the core of the body, where you get the most accurate heart rate information, where you're getting true position data. You can't kind of fake that, the kind of the center of gravity. And those measures that I talked about, ways to tell if you can improve over time, the body doesn't lie. And seeing a system that sees inside the body and can measure biometric information like your max heart rate, like your ventilatory threshold, like your recovery rate, that is definitely taking a position. And I think the other thing with willpower is that you're not supposed to go all out every day. Your body will really break down. So we have this idea around helping athletes and trainers make sure they don't overdo it or dog it or underdo it. So I would say in that way, I say those three things, and then also the combination of heart rate information and body position and how they affect each other matters. And I think that's another place where I think we've really put a stake in the ground. So I think in total, we're really saying this is how we believe athletes can get the most precise information, and this is how athletes can use that information to adjust how they work out and improve over time. Because remember, that's the goal. The goal of this is to make athletes better.
We just got a few in.
Okay, they're rolling in.
So Christy, what's the target market for Armour39, and what about the price?
Target market. Well, you guys can probably guess that it's not a super casual walker. We want to be true to our brand, as I said at the beginning, and we serve athletes. Now, the definition of athlete is very broad, but it's basically anyone who wants to be active and they're serious about it. It's not just a casual endeavor. Now, can someone who's casual use it? Of course they can. But we're focused on athletes that are committed, no matter their level, no matter their age or their gender, that they're committed to getting better. They're committed to knowing the truth about their workout and not hiding from that and getting that objective information. So that's the athlete that we're going after. And you know, we're very clear about that. Oh, sorry, the price. The bug in the strap, that is, as I said, kind of the centerpiece of the technology. That's $150, and it's available for pre-sale on UnderArmour.com right now. The app will be, it is not, on iTunes, so that's a free download. And then if you want it as an optional display, the watch, that will be available also on UnderArmour.com for $200. Now and then that watch again has an updatable module, which is one of the few really in the world right now. It also functions, people always ask us, as a normal watch. Yes, it does, but it's also compatible with Armour39.
So a question that's come in that we've been hearing is there GPS functionality in the system? And next.
Workout.
Oh, and there's a workout builder for those to use who don't have trainers.
Good question. There's not at this time GPS functionality. And you know, one of the things that we are committed to is hearing from our consumers. One of the things about the system being on an updatable app, both on mobile devices and on the watch, is that it allows us to introduce new features and benefits or new features to our consumer based on what we're learning. So, so we'll really be taking a lot of that feedback. And right now, the system works best with someone who kind of knows how they want to train or that they have a trainer. And we want to continue to provide assistance and help and guidance to our consumer as we move forward.
All right. Can you talk about some of the safety mechanisms built into the product to prevent overexertion by the average consumer?
What would you address for that one?
So we want to be clear that this is a training tool. This is something for you to work into your workout to inform you. It is not a guidance tool, and we are not with this saying, encouraging you to push beyond your limits. We know that athletes walk in and they want something out of their workout. They know whether it's going to be a hard day or a light day. And this is the tool, as Christy has talked about, that informs them to really dial in on what that means. It's not to push and change your habits, it's to inform them to dial in. There are not built-in safety mechanisms. The tool is designed to show you the information that's been there, you just haven't had before. I'll say if there's anything else.
Great.
And then, how does Under Armour trademark willpower? That belongs to every athlete.
Is that coming from one of our competitors? I know it is. I see you out there. I see you, all of you. No, I'm kidding. We did. We've applied for federally registered trademark on willpower and the use of it in context with our product. So that's all I'll say about it.
A question that rolled in earlier is this a platform Under Armour will use for digital products going forward?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that it's about, again, you have to think through your first step into any market. Well, we obviously already had a brand, but how do we step in with our first digital product? So yes, I mean, is this indicative of a direction that we're going? Of course. And one of the cool things about the platform that we're building with this bug, the module, again, is that the app and the phone are updatable so that we can build on that platform as we go forward.
Christy, another question that came in is, and you hit this, but if you'll kind of review, what is it that goes into willpower?
Sure. Yeah, I'll hit that again. So, we certainly, people want to know. And one of the things that we did was in coming up with a name, we could have just called it, your workout score. Well, that's sort of, I don't know, it fell flat. And we wanted something that was easily relatable to an athlete. And willpower, it really taps into that psyche of the athlete. And so we wanted kind of a shorthand for this idea of how hard did I work out. Well, the idea is simple, but what's underneath is highly complex. We don't have our product team here today, and we wouldn't give you our secret recipe anyway, but the types of things that go into it, just to review again, are how long did I work out? What are my key heart rate measures, like max heart rate and ventilatory threshold? What type of user profile do I have? And what kind of body position data am I generating? So those are some of the key inputs that go into the algorithm and produce the score, 0 to 10.
We have another one.
Okay.
How will you distribute the product in the future, online or through retailers? And will you be marketing the Combine shirts that the bugs plug into?
Great, I like that. We're generating some demand out there. We're keeping it tight for now. It's Under Armour direct-to-consumer only on underarmour.com and select retail stores for Under Armour. We will be really releasing kind of the next stages of our distribution strategy. I can't, get into too much detail on that, but we're going to be doing what's appropriate for this product. We know that this product is not apparel, it's not footwear, and everything about it has to be different, including the distribution. In terms of the Combine shirt, we are not making that particular shirt available. It's specific to Combine, so only those 370 guys actually will get theirs. But the bug itself, just so everyone knows, is exactly the same. That's the technology. The shirt was specific to Combine.
Is Armour39 waterproof? It is sweat resistant. You can pop the module out and wash that chest strap like any garment. Best if hand wash, but do not swim with it.
Yep. Is it?
That's all the questions so
Oh,
far.
we have one here.
Two questions. Why is it called Armour39 specifically?
Yeah.
39, where's that come from?
Sure.
And then my second question, as a fitness trainer, this could be a great tool because then I can find out if somebody's really dogging it, or trying to make me think that they're working super hard. Could I use this with 10 different clients if I do the assessment on 10 different athletes? So
Yes.
is it something that I can have data on 10 different people and track it every single time they work out?
Yes, definitely. I'll start with your first question, the name. A lot of people have asked us the name. So the company, we really honor our heritage. We started, as I said, Kevin Plank, he played football at Maryland, and it's very personal, and he's still running the company. He's very, very involved. And so our heritage is very important to us. And the first commercialized product, which was a tight-fitting short-sleeve, compression tee, the style number was 39. And we really wanted to kind of give a little nod and a wink back to that heritage. So that is how 39 kind of came in. You know, E39 was part of that as well. And the Armour39 technology, while built on E39, is very different. I mean, we have different plastics, different electronics, different algorithms. And so we wanted to change the name and signal that it was built on that, but different. And Armour has really, it's Armour formative names. They've really taken on a lot of meaning. We have just a super hot performing sports bra right now called the Armour bra. So a lot of our tip of spear products are using Armour formative names. So Armour and then 39. You touched on clients. We really, we know there's an immense opportunity with trainers. I think you said you're a trainer as well. We have a lot of trainers that we work with, Tori in particular, and if you want to speak to that, please do. We know that clients, they look up to their trainer. Well, what shoes are they wearing? What types of apparel are they wearing? And what are the latest fitness products and digital products? And on the trainer side, they see a ton of opportunity to train people all at once and have targets, and people can see each other's data. So there really is a lot of potential. We are in the early stages of formulating exactly what that experience would be. But it is going to be, this system, these capabilities, and giving you and other trainers tools that you can use. I think, everybody knows that people are more motivated to work out with other people. So that's a kind of another trend that we want to tap into in helping you guys. Do you want to add anything on that?
I mean, the only thing really, a lot of what she said, is spot on and everything. The only other thing is creating kind of that dashboard so that it's not just you pushing the athletes that you're training, the 10 athletes you're training, but it's also so if the 3 of us are training, I know what Christy's doing, I know what Sarah's doing, and I know that there's more that I can get out of myself, so there's that own competitiveness that you have, but then also there's the encouragement of hey, Christy, I know you're slacking today, let's pick it up and stuff. So again, the whole platform is creating this awareness, and I think we're gonna find different ways of how athletes, trainers, teams, everyone's gonna start using the information, and that's where, I think the future will kind of dictate where we head with
Why
it,
did you pick me as a slacker? I mean,
I shouldn't have. I definitely shouldn't have.
Any other?
Yeah, we have. What do I get out of the watch versus the free app? Why would anyone?
That's a really good question. And one of the things we want to provide is flexibility. No person is the same, and what you're doing for your workouts are different than other people. We want to give options. We want to give flexibility. So you can use either one. Obviously, the app is free. The app is convenient, assuming that you have a compatible phone, Bluetooth Smart Ready, and it's iOS. The display is very colorful. You can certainly look at your history in detail. But it's hard to wear as seamlessly or use for real time, depending on your point of view. We had a lot of people, consumers, people within the company saying, gosh, I want it right here, just so I can check it. I'm biking or I'm lifting, and I want to be able to check that. So if you want a wrist-mounted display, if you want an actual on-body display, that's really where you would use the watch. And some people are going to use both, depending on the workout. Maybe some people will go for a run, they'll take the watch, but then if they're in the gym, they'll have the phone. So it really depends on your needs, and we wanted to give that flexibility to the consumer.
And one last one is, do you see potential future in-game applications for this technology?
Yeah, so in-game applications, I think it's a fascinating topic. It's certainly a place that, there's some competitors of ours that are out there. From an appetite perspective among coaches and trainers, it's there. It's definitely there. There are a lot of teams, I think in Europe, that are doing it. One of the things you want to make sure is that you're providing relevant information. And that's, again, why we study the athletes and we study coaches and trainers. And you also want to make it safe. So there are plenty of people, even in the NFL, that have worn heart rate monitors. So when we think about our performance monitor, do we see applications down the road to in-game? Yes. Could you wear our system in-game? You definitely could. We're not promoting that because it's not specifically designed for it, but the plastics are soft. The housing of the bug is really, really soft. The module itself is the smallest one in the market. It's the slimmest, the smallest, and the lightest one. So in terms of it sort of disappearing, underneath the uniform, it's pretty well positioned for that, but it's not something we're promoting right now. But I do see a ton of future coaches making game time decisions based on that data. I mean, it's fascinating. It's fascinating stuff. And it gives coaches a new tool that I don't think they've had before. All right, well, you guys, thank you so much for sitting in with us.